The Big Dog Postgame Show is brought to you by Viener X Consulting. We make your company work. And by Rick Jacklich, the big dog himself, at the Jacklich Law Group.
It is a good evening in College Park, Maryland 101, Iowa 75. Maryland won an incredible run, a 40-10 run, got them to 84-61, but early on, Maryland actually trailed going to the half. I'm Wayne Viener, James Gist, Mason Viener. This is the Big Dog Post-Game Show. James, early on, Iowa was getting the ball down low in a hurry. Maryland didn't seem to know how to stop that. What was going on?
Iowa was just playing a great level of basketball. I feel the way they were sharing the ball. Their assists were very high in the first half, and you could see the shots they were creating was they were very high quality shots compared to what Maryland was doing in the first half. A lot of our offense, our shots were contested and or we were taking quick shots. We weren't creating as much.
We weren't. Iowa had a big run on assists at one point. They went up and assists all over the five. Later on, Maryland catches up. Terps turned 51-47 at the half. And then Maryland came out and just blew Iowa away. What did you see for that part of the game?
Yeah, just starting to share the basketball better, play a little bit more of what we've seen the Terps be able to do on this winning streak. And then on the defensive end, just more aggression, closing out on screens. You're playing against a team that cuts heavily off the ball, that shares the basketball well. You have to play the full 30 seconds. And Iowa, their fans are saying it's an expired brand of basketball, but it's one that definitely puts every team they play to a test because they'll hold the ball all 30 seconds and they know what to do for the full possession. Maryland, once they got into that mode, able to kind of cut down off some of the passes, take advantage of some lazy plays, and then the points off turnovers from the Terps went way up in the second half. And Maryland wasn't giving them the ball, and things started going the Terps' way.
Yeah, we started creating a little bit more, and that was a big thing. When you get down to a team like Iowa, where they might have a 6-point lead, it kind of feels like you're down 20. Just because of the way they play, like you said, 30-second offenses, and if they get an offensive rebound, you got to play another 18, I think it is. So it's, it definitely puts you in a hole, but Maryland responded very well in the second half.
With 3:10 left in the first half, Derek Queen hit a free throw at the other end for his first point. So in 23 minutes, he takes over the game, gets 18 points, 13 boards, and looks like a superstar. You must have had a game like that where you didn't do much for the first 20 and then took off. Tell me about that.
It's more so when you're trying to stick to the game plan as a player, you're playing through, everybody else. You're trying to get everybody's shots and not trying to be overly aggressive, looking for your shot and leaving everybody else cold. But at the same time, you got to understand the type of player that Derek Queen is, the type of presence that he has when he's on the court. And he showed just like that in the 23 minutes of who he can be if he really wants to be that.
I think he does. When he plays at full speed, and he was playing at full speed, and you could see that at Nebraska, boy, he could just dominate that game. Maryland's 5 starters, all over 10 points. Gillespie, 26 points, 5 boards, 7 assists, 3 steals. I had more paper, I had more stats. The guys turned into a Terp favorite like many of these point guards have from Mello on, and he looks like the next version of that.
I think he's a step maybe below those guys right now, but he doesn't have to do as much because he has a player like Derek Queen with him. I think one of the strangest takeaways from this game for me was the Terps came out, they took a handful of bad shots, they all seemed to go in the basket, and that almost freezes you when you're playing because the ball didn't get down low, it didn't get to Juju, it didn't get to Derek Queen. The second half, it did start off similar, they hit a couple threes, but they sort of eased into what I think is the winning formula for this team, and it can take them very far this year.
Yeah, that's like the scariest thing about Maryland, like you said, and just the potential that they have, They had to have where they look kind of sluggish, really rough basketball, and then they come out and they just figure it out. And then they go on an amazing run. They push the game out to almost 30 points at one point. It just shows you what we're capable of. Shows you what we're capable of.
It's always interesting now, and it seems to be a theme with this team. They scored 100 points today in a college basketball team, and we're talking about how they can improve.
Right.
Isn't that, feel like that's the takeaway time and time again. This team is.
I think you learn more from your wins than you do your losses sometimes. Because when you win a game and you go back and you watch tape as a team, you look at all the good things. You look at all the highlights. You overlook the things, the mistakes that happened during the game because you won. There are a lot of mistakes that possibly happen that You know, Coach Willard and the coaching staff, I'm sure, get the guys back into it. But you can learn a lot from wins and losses.
So on this day in Maryland history, you and I were here 13 years ago. I'm not sure where in Greece you were at that time. You were playing overseas someplace.
Definitely.
You and I were here when Maryland beat Duke. Last time Maryland played here, Trojan win. That was a great, hopefully one day we get to play them again and it still matters. And then 2 years ago, Maryland beats Purdue on this date in history, which was the return of Maryland basketball. And with that, Bruce is away from the camera and the studio today. We will be back after this word from Rick Jacklich, the big dog, and the new Viener X Consulting.
So Terp fans, if your family's injured in a car crash, you'd be barking mad not to call Rick and the Big Dogs at the Jacklich Law Group at 855-BIG-DOG-1.
But as you know, Coach, it's not the last win, it's the next win that's so important. And that's why we continue to hustle, continue to work so hard for all of our clients to earn that name, the big dogs from the small firm. Just like you do. You get your guys hustling all the time.
That's why we love you, Rick.
And most of all,
Go Terps!
Wrapping this up on the floor at Xfinity Center. You know we like our highlights on this show. So the highlights to me really aren't those five guys. They were fantastic. It's Jordan Geronimo and the dunks at home. We get a couple of those here. And then the almost play that would have brought the house down might have been the play of the year of Jay Young. He converted this dunk that you see playing behind us, but he didn't. It's nice to see minutes from other guys. And with that, I'm going to throw it to the future. USC comes in on Thursday. You've been studying up on that. What do you have for us?
Yeah, I mean, all the positives, 100-point performance, and you put a missed dunk here.
I was rooting for him when he tried.
No. But it just shows. Everybody's always looking for things that can be better. Going the rest of the way here, quad 2 opponents, couple of them coming up. Obviously, they play USC here at Xfinity Center on Thursday night. You really can't drop that game. You want to convert your quad 2s the rest of the way. They'll host Michigan State, ending the 3-game homestand for that. And then things really get interesting. If things start breaking the Terps' way, second place in the conference could still be in play at that point. They'll go to Michigan, to Penn State, and then I believe they wrap up here with Northwestern. That's the last one.
They do. At Penn State has been it's not gone well for Maryland. Penn State, they're 3-12 or 3 and something in the conference. 3-11.
I mean, they're in that danger of not making the conference tournament. They're second to last in the league. I don't know if they beat Washington yesterday, but things are rough there.
All right, James, you've been through this with Gary last couple of weeks of the season, getting ready to wrap things up. How's the intensity change? What's it do for the guys on the bench? How's this all work?
I think right now, you just start to switch gears. You've been playing at a high level all year long. You're getting into the thick of conference play. Everybody's starting to look forward to, like you said, the placement in the conference. Who you're going to match up when the tournament comes around for conference tournament for the Big Ten. All of that stuff comes into play now. And you start to want to get into that mindset of being in March. That highlight of college basketball. You got to be playing at your best basketball at that point. So it's going to be time to buckle down. These games coming up, like you said, are going to be very important. And each step is going to lead us to March. Putting us in a position for postseason.
right? And I'm sure you're not supposed to say it, or Bruce would call it rat poison. We also start to look at the Alamo Dome, and hey, these 5 guys plus 1 or 2 other guys having a good game could get you all the way to San Antonio, but man, it's a long way off. Any final words?
Anything is possible, man. Anything is possible. And this is why you got to love college basketball. Maryland came out today with the energy, and as you see, we're rolling. We're rolling.
Game by game, the big picture though, it starts to get in your head, and it starts to, at this point, be something that can power you. Not so much of the rat poison, but something that can start to really drive you towards the end of the season.
And you got to start believing it. You got to start believing it. At one point or another, as a team, you got to come together and just understand that you really are that good. You've been putting in the work. You've been putting in the hours. The results are coming. You have to believe it. If you believe it, everybody else will follow.
Well, there's 5 guys here that are that good. We'll see if they can find somebody else to help out. But at some point during that game at Nebraska, I started to say, this is actually a really good basketball team. We're having a season here. And with that, for Bruce Bosner, James Giss, Stacey Viner, Rick Jacklich, I'm Wayne Viner, Maryland 101, Iowa 75. We will see you after USC on Thursday. Good evening.